The lobby of Ward Enterprises buzzed with the usual morning chaos, heels clacking, phones ringing. Voice is blending into a rushed corporate hum. But amid all that noise, no one noticed the tiny figure standing frozen beside the marble pillar. 7-year-old Mia Ward, with her dark curls and trembling hands, pressed her palms tightly over her ears. The lights were too bright. The echoes were too sharp. The world felt like it was collapsing in on her. Everyone hurried past everyone except Lena Brooks, the receptionist who'd only been working there for 3 months, but whose heart was older, softer, and far more attentive than most. She spotted Mia instantly. Her chair slid back quietly. Her steps were slow, deliberate. She knelt beside the girl with the gentle familiarity of someone who'd done this before. "Mia," she whispered, "it's okay. I'm right here." Lena didn't touch her. She just breathed slow, steady, rhythmic. In-out, in-out. Mia's frantic breathing began to fall into sync with hers. "Good job," Lena murmured. "You're safe. You're doing amazing." The storm in Mia's small body softened. Her shoulders loosened. Her hands lowered a little. She dared to peek up at the woman who had given her calm when the world felt too loud. And that's exactly when the sharp crack of a voice cut through the moment. Lena, the floor manager, Mr. Huxley, marched toward them like an angry storm cloud. "What are you doing away from your desk? We have clients walking in and you're... What babysitting?" Lena stood slowly. "Sir," she was overwhelmed. "I was just helping. You were abandoning your post." He snapped. "Turn in your badge. You're fired." The entire lobby froze. Mia's small eyes widened, and Lena's world fell apart in front of everyone. High above the lobby, separated from the chaos by a pane of glass and a world of status, Elias Ward stood on the mezzanine level. The CEO of Ward Enterprises, the man whose signature could shift markets, the man who rarely smiled, rarely spoke, rarely let anyone close. But at this moment, all that power meant nothing, because the trembling little girl below, the one trying not to cry, the one who had curled back into herself after the shouting, was his daughter, his only child, his entire world, Mia. And while everyone else in the building pretended not to see her distress, he watched the one person who did notice the receptionist kneel down and treat his daughter not like an inconvenience, but like a human being who mattered. Elias' hands tightened on the railing. He had seen the whole thing, every moment, every breath Lena had taken to help Mia regain control. And he had seen Huxley's explosion, cold, cruel, thoughtless. He had seen Lena's face collapse not from anger, but from shame. He had seen Mia shrink again, as if the world had just confirmed her fears. Elias felt something hot and unfamiliar burning behind his ribs. Guilt, regret, and fury. He remembered the therapists telling him that autistic children needed gentleness, predictability, compassion, and he remembered how often he failed to give Mia any of those things buried in meetings, swallowed by responsibility. But Lena had given his daughter comfort in 30 seconds. That he hadn't managed in 7 years. That truth hit him harder than any business failure ever could. Without thinking, Elias stepped away from the mezzanine and headed toward the elevator, every stride a silent storm. He had stayed distant long enough. It was time to go downstairs. It was time to fix what he had allowed to break. Lena stood at the security desk with a small cardboard box in her arms, her mug, her pens. The little succulent she watered every morning. It was astonishing how fast a life could be packed away. Her hands trembled, not from anger, but from humiliation so sharp it felt like a bruise spreading across her chest. She had only tried to help a child. That was all. She blinked quickly, fighting tears. She didn't want Mia to see her cry. Miss Brooks, the deep voice behind her, was calm, steady, and strangely gentle. Lena turned and nearly dropped the box. Elias Ward stood in front of her, the CEO, her boss's boss's boss. The man people whispered about but never approached. He wasn't stern. He wasn't cold. He wasn't anything like the rumors. In fact, he looked shaken. Mr. Ward, Lena stammered. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cause. You helped my daughter. The words stopped her breath. Elias nodded toward the corner, where Mia now sat quietly with a security guard keeping watch. Her small eyes peeked out from behind her curls, tracking Lena's every movement. She calmed when you spoke to her, he said softly. I've never seen her recover that fast. Lena swallowed. I just recognized the signs. My younger brother has autism. Growing up, I learned what helped him when things got too loud. I didn't think. You thought exactly what a compassionate person thinks, Elias said. Then his voice cracked the slightest fracture in an otherwise unbreakable man. And I haven't been that person for her. Not the way she needs. Not yet. Lena's eyes softened. You're trying. That matters more than you think. Elias held her gaze, really held it, as though seeing her for the first time. Lena, you didn't deserve what happened to you, and I'm going to fix it. Elias didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The quiet intensity in his eyes as he gestured for Huxley to come forward was enough to freeze half the lobby in place. Conversations died mid-sentence. Keyboards stopped clicking. People stepped aside like a tide pulling back from the shore. Huxley walked over stiffly, his bravado already thinning when he saw who was waiting for him. Mr. Ward, sir, I can explain. No, Elias said. You can't. The stillness in his tone was more frightening than a shout. Elias's gaze drifted to Mia, then back to Huxley with a deliberate, icy clarity. I watched everything you did, everything you said, and I will not tolerate cruelty in my company. Huxley sputtered. Cruelty? She abandoned her station to comfort my daughter, Elias cut in sharply. The words echoed through the lobby. Gasps rippled. Fingers flew to mouths. Huxley's face drained of color. I don't give second chances for behavior like yours, Elias said. Your employment here is terminated. Effective immediately, security stepped forward. The lobby held its breath. Huxley opened and closed his mouth, but no sound came out. Elias didn't watch him go. He turned to someone who mattered far more. Lena. She lifted her eyes, still stunned. I'm reinstating you, he said, voice softening. Not as a receptionist. That position is too small for the impact you've already made. Lena blinked, confused. Sir, what do you mean? I want to offer you a new role, Elias said, emotion tightening his throat. One that I should have created a long time ago. He paused, almost vulnerable. Help me understand Mia. Help me be a father she can feel safe with. Be her support. And mine. Lena's breath caught. Tears welled. She nodded slowly, heart full. I'd be honored. The sun warmed the rooftop garden of Ward Enterprises. A quiet space Elias had passed 1,000 times, but never truly seen. Today, it felt different, alive, peaceful, full of possibility. Lena sat on the grass with Mia beside her. A small assortment of sensory toys spread out like a picnic. Bright colors, soft textures, little things that made the world gentler. Mia giggled soft, light, like a note of music rarely heard. Elias stood only a few feet away, watching as his daughter pressed a squishy foam star into Lena's palm. She wasn't hiding her face. She wasn't tense or overwhelmed. She was connected. Your turn, Daddy, Lena said. Smiling up at him, the word Daddy still hit Elias like a gift he wasn't sure he deserved. He sat down awkwardly at first, expensive suit brushing against the grass. But Mia reached out and placed the foam star in his hand, her fingers briefly touching his. His throat tightened. Thank you, sweetheart, he whispered. Mia leaned her head gently onto Lena's shoulder, a gesture of trust, comfort, safety. Elias exhaled a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding for years. For the first time, he wasn't thinking about stock prices, shareholders, or deadlines. He was thinking about how fragile and strong his daughter was, how close he'd come to failing her, and how a single act of kindness from a woman he barely knew had changed the trajectory of both their lives. Lena looked at him, her eyes warm. You're doing great, you know, Elias swallowed. Only because you showed me how. Together, the three of them watched the afternoon light stretch across the skyline. It wasn't the end of their challenges, but it was the beginning of a family learning, healing, and growing one gentle moment at a time. Sometimes, the smallest kindness becomes the turning point in someone's entire world.